Good afternoon. 2 people have died following a crash on the 401 in Mississauga.
5 people were taken to hospital as a result of the collision, including one person who was airlifted off the highway. CP24's Beatrice Vaisman has been following the crash investigation. She joins us live now from just above the scene. Beatrice.
Michelle, Nathan, we're standing on a bridge on Dixie just over the highway, and we'll show you what this horrific crash looks like. We also just got an update from Ontario Provincial Police a few minutes ago. The update includes the ages of the 2 people who tragically lost their lives in this 2-vehicle collision. We now know an 80-year-old man has died. He was a passenger in one of these vehicles. A 53-year-old woman also died. They were actually in that same car. Both of them, according to police, are from Cambridge. They were pronounced dead here at the scene. Initially, the OPP said that this was a situation where a vehicle was struck from behind as traffic was slowing. We're showing you live pictures right now of one of the 2 vehicles involved. It looks like a silver SUV. You can see just horrific damage to that vehicle. It's kind of jammed up onto the median here on the left-hand side. There is another vehicle that's within our eyesight as well. It's a dark gray Mercedes SUV as well. Those are the 2 cars that police say were involved in this crash just before 9 o'clock this morning. And again, this was a crash that police say one vehicle was struck from behind as traffic started slowing just before 9 a.m. We also know that 3 other people were also injured, including one person who was transported by Orange Air Ambulance to St. Mike's Hospital. That person suffering critical injuries is what we heard from a spokesperson from Orange, Nathan and Michelle. That person taken with critical injuries. We don't know the condition of the other 2 people who were transported to hospital. The live footage we're showing you right now, live pictures we're showing you right now, is kind of the last remaining vehicles and trucks who were caught up in the backlog immediately after the crash. This appears actually to be the last few vehicles here. And once these vehicles actually make it through the scene where there's lots of police there, this is the express lanes eastbound on the 401, that's when the police will ultimately begin their investigation, taking measurements and making all of their determinations before the highway can reopen, Michelle. And we're hearing from the OPP it'll be at least another 3 hours, so plan some detours for your afternoon commute home, Michelle.
CP24's Beatrice Vaisman live for us along the highway. Thank you. We appreciate the update there. Another big story today. Just look at this. Toronto has been covered by a layer of forest fire smoke, prompting Environment Canada to issue an orange air quality advisory due to the unhealthy conditions.
It comes as the city remains under a heat warning, with people urged to stay indoors. CTV's John Musselman has been speaking with people trying to deal with the heat plus the smoke and joins us live with more. John.
Well, you're right, Nathan. Really is a double whammy. We're down here at Humber Bay, and it's pretty bad. You can smell it, almost taste it. It starts irritating your eyes. We'll show you some video. This was taken this morning just after sunrise. You really see this orange haze that has descended over parts of Ontario. This is coming from those forest fires, as you mentioned, in northwestern Ontario. So it is creating quite difficult conditions for people outside with the air quality, which is quite bad. And there is a report online from an air quality global forum that says Toronto has some of the worst air quality in the world right now, and that's because of these wildfires and the smoke drifting down. As well, we're still dealing with the heat. That's not over yet. We're still expecting temperatures above 30 degrees Celsius. We did have a chance to speak to some people on how they're dealing with this smoke, and also to an air quality expert from the University of Toronto. Here's what they had to tell us just a short time ago.
As soon as I walked outside, it is just like, I feel like I smell smoke immediately. It is so warm, so hot. I'm honestly surprised people are even running.
I usually work out in the afternoon, but because of the air quality and the heat, I just got up before dawn to be able to go running.
Did you notice the smoke when you stepped out this morning?
Yeah, you can see it very clearly.
There is the kind of additive effect, both these things coming at once, plus there is a broader population of people. So some people might be affected by extreme heat, some people might be affected by the wildfire smoke, and some people both. So it's really kind of a confluence of circumstance.
So really the advice is to try to stay out of it as much as possible, or try to limit your time outside today because of this smoke and this poor air quality. We've been out for about 15 minutes here just waiting to go on, and you can really feel it in your nose and in your eyes, so you have to be careful. And it won't improve for at least another couple of days. Reporting live at Humber Bay, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, John. It really is not pleasant at all. And there's footage from Collins, Ontario, north of Sudbury, showing a train being surrounded by wildfire. CN Rail says the crew was able to make it off that train safely, but the train itself remains on the tracks. Freight trains using the corridor have been stopped and staged near Collins. Police say those trains were carrying combustible and flammable materials. And these satellite images offer a view of the wildfire smoke causing all these problems. As of Monday, there were 160 active wildfires in the province. A handful of communities in northwestern Ontario are currently under evacuation orders.
An outdoor pool, which was supposed to be open during yesterday's extreme heat, had to close briefly because of staff concerns. The city says Alex Duff Memorial Pool was closed after staff raised concerns about the heat and workplace safety. It's unclear how the situation was resolved and how long the closure lasted. Last year, the city faced backlash after some outdoor pools were closed for similar reasons. The city says its enhanced heat relief strategy this year includes specific measures for pools, including increased staffing and ensuring access to shaded and cooling places.
Let's take a live look outside at our city skyline this afternoon, and you can see what we've been talking about. It's an orange haze, the wildfire smoke, making it seem like it's almost nighttime. Some street lights were on when it's supposed to be bright outside. Maybe your car's automatic lights turning on because the haze and the smoke is making it seem like it's a lot darker out there. We also have not as extreme heat as yesterday, but certainly the weather and the smoke creating for some problems today. Lindsay Morrison joins us from a Tim Hortons location. Glad Lindsay's inside today. Actually, she's celebrating Camp Day with, well, can't wait to hear about it. I'm thinking about, Lindsay, the kids that are at camp today, and hopefully camps are certainly taking measures to mitigate these conditions.
You know, Michelle, my understanding is a lot of camps, a lot of outdoor activities have been canceled today or postponed because of the weather conditions. What a couple of days it has been. We're going to get right to it. We are under an orange level air quality warning here in the city of Toronto, and it is remarkable just how quickly this smoke moved in. You can see how widespread the warning is also. Let's take a closer look at the air quality health index for today. Also, we are at a 10. We are maxed out here in the city of Toronto. So yes, a great day to spend some time indoors and out of the poor air, because as we've mentioned, it can be very taxing on your health. And if that's not enough, it is still hot out here today. We're not out of the heat wave just yet, although this smoke is inhibiting the warm up a little bit. We're 25 degrees right now. It feels more like 30. We had very strong winds yesterday out of the west, and once again, the winds are breezy today. Might not be able to see too much on the satellite and radar as far as smoke is concerned. However, if we didn't have this smoke, it would have been a mix of sun and cloud kind of day, and a few showers are creeping toward the Bruce Peninsula at this hour. Again, we are live here at Tim Hortons because it is Camp Day! We're having so much fun already. Nick, you are the franchisee here. Tell us about Camp Day and how people can make a difference today.
I mean, Camp Day is a really wonderful day where 100% of proceeds from coffee, nice coffee, go towards Tim Hortons Foundation camps. You guys can donate by buying a coffee, nice coffee, by buying a Camp Day donut, and also by, donating with a $2 Courage badge or a $3 bracelet.
Amazing. It looks incredible in here. Look at this crowd here. We are at One William Kitchen in Scarborough. Come on down today, buy a coffee, and support these campers and staff members. We're going to chat with them a little later on in the hour. But for now, Nathan and Michelle, I'm going to send it back inside to you. Happy Camp Day! Woohoo!
Everyone, look forward to hearing more from all of you. To some other news now. Police are investigating after shots were fired in a Scarborough park. Officers called to Wixon Trail Park near Nielsen and Shepherd just after 3 a.m. for reports of shots. They found evidence of gunfire, but no injuries have been reported. Investigators have not provided information on possible suspects. A 42-year-old from Hamilton is facing more than 100 additional charges in connection with a child sexual abuse and exploitation investigation.
The probe, which was carried out by Toronto Police and the RCMP, also saw the rescue of 4 children in the Philippines. CTV's Raheem Ladani joins us live from Toronto Police headquarters with more on this story. Raheem.
Nathan, Michelle, today's press conference is a prime example of just how complex police investigations are and how the work of law enforcement doesn't end simply after someone is arrested. Today, as you mentioned, Toronto police say that a 42-year-old man from Hamilton is now facing 136 charges after investigators laid 130 additional counts following months of forensic analysis. Police allege the accused paid for and directed the live stream sexual abuse of children in the Philippines. This investigation actually began more than a year ago in the spring of 2025 when Canadian and international law enforcement agencies started tracking someone in Canada who was allegedly sending money overseas to facilitate the live stream abuse of children. Later that year, Philippine authorities rescued 4 children during an operation, and that helped advance the Canadian investigation. Now, you may remember in March of this year, Toronto police executed a search warrant at a home in Hamilton where they allege they seized child sexual abuse material and arrested Stephen Tolys.
As investigators continued to review evidence and follow new leads, the scope of the investigation grew. As a result, Mr. Tolys now faces 130 additional criminal charges related to the purchase and direction of live stream sexual abuse of children.
We do have over 50 unnamed victims that we're looking to identify, which is why we're here today. We're hoping that this information will get out.
So as you heard from police investigators right there, they believe there are additional victims, and they believe Tolys communicated with them through online usernames. And so I'm going to read the usernames that police say he may have used. They're Tupac 101, Steve 101, Steve-O, Jumpin' Jacks 666, Mighty and Mighty Man with 2 N's 66. Investigators are asking anyone who may have communication with anyone with those usernames to be in touch with them, because that could lead to potentially more charges. Reporting live, I'm Raheem Ladani. Nathan, I'll send it back over to you.
Thank you, Raheem. A 15-year-old boy who pleaded guilty to murdering an elderly woman in Pickering last year has received the maximum sentence. The teen, who was 14 at the time and cannot be identified under the Youth Criminal Justice Act, pleaded guilty to first-degree murder in April. Yesterday, he apologized in court for the death of 83-year-old Eleanor Doney, who was working in her yard when she was attacked. The teen has received a 10-year sentence, the maximum for a youth convicted of first-degree murder. He'll serve 5 years in custody and 4 under community supervision. The remaining year was credited for time he spent in pretrial custody.
A motorcyclist was sent to hospital following a crash on the westbound 401 early this morning. It happened around 2:45 in the collector lanes just west of Renforth. Peel paramedics say the motorcyclist suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries. The cause of the crash is under investigation.
Thousands of animals have been killed in a barn fire in southwestern Ontario. 40 firefighters responded to the fire at the farm south of Brantford yesterday. The barn was destroyed and 20,000 hogs were killed. No people were hurt as a result of the fire. The Norfolk County Fire Department says the cause is under investigation, but the fire itself is not considered suspicious.
Drivers are feeling more pain at the pumps today, and it appears another price increase is on the way. Gas prices jumped 8 cents overnight, meaning the average price at most GTA stations rose to just under $1.73 a liter. Another 2-cent increase is expected tonight. Canadians for Affordable Energy President Dan McTagg says that after an 11-cent hike overnight, diesel prices will rise another 8 cents Thursday to just under $2.14 a liter. The rising prices are linked to the renewed violence between the U.S. and Iran in the Middle East. Meanwhile, a new survey from CAA South Central Ontario finds 70% of respondents aged 35 to 54 say rising gas prices are affecting their day-to-day activities. Respondents say they're driving less, cutting back on discretionary spending, and reducing everyday purchases like takeout meals and coffee. 60% of respondents who are planning road trips this summer say they will not go as often or as far due to tighter budgets.
The TTC has awarded a contract to begin upgrading the signal system on Line 2, the Bloor-Danforth line. Hitachi Rail Canada will be responsible for introducing the automated system, which the TTC says will increase capacity on the line and reduce signal-related delays. The system automatically controls speed and separation between trains, allowing them to operate closer together and allow for them to arrive at the stations more frequently.
Automatic train control is how modern subway system operates. It will allow us to run this line dynamically, keeping trains a safe distance apart while adding more trains per hour and adapting to real-time needs. From Scarborough to Etobicoke, faster commutes, less time waiting for the next train, and less time stuck because of signal problems.
This is one of the most significant investments we can make in our future of the subway and have been making on our subway. The signaling system currently in use has served this city with distinction since 1966. But with every generation, it reaches a saturation point where reliability alone is no longer enough. To meet the needs of a growing city, a world-class city, we must modernize.
Work on the project will begin this year, but the implementation will be done in phases and is not expected to be completed until 2037.
Statistics Canada has released new data on electric vehicle sales. CTV's Scott Hurst joins us live now from the CTV National Newsroom to break down the numbers. Scott, how are EV sales going?
Michelle, good afternoon. EV sales are on a roll. There's been renewed momentum for much of the year in terms of interest in buying electric vehicles, and those numbers are backed up by the latest numbers coming from Statistics Canada. The latest numbers released just this morning for the month of May show that there's been more than 18,000 electric vehicle sales across the country. Very similar numbers the month before in April, close to 18,000 EVs sold across Canada. And that's up more than 20% from a year earlier. The numbers were even stronger from March, with Stats Canada showing in that month there were more than 21,000 EV sales in Canada. That makes up about 12% of all vehicles sold that month alone. So the big question, why are we seeing car buyers like you and me turning back to these types of vehicles after the industry hit a rough road for much of the year before? In 2024, zero-emission vehicles reached new heights after really being on a steady increase for much of the past decade, making up about 14% of new annual sales. Then in 2025, it was a bumpy ride, with sales dropping significantly. Industry analysts say there are several factors at play here, as is often the case, not just one factor, including a new 5-year EV incentive program introduced by the government in February, offering rebates of up to $5,000 this year. Couple those new incentives with the recent surge in gas prices, as you already touched on in this newscast. Consumers have been watching and feeling the wild fluctuations and seeing more of our money going out of our pockets just to fill up our gas tanks, and so much uncertainty over the last several months, watching the war in Iran and the on-again, off-again closures of the Strait of Hormuz impacting gas prices around the world. Plus, there's just become much more familiarity of the vehicles and increased options. Now, there are still many barriers that Canadians feel in considering an electric vehicle, cost still being one of them, which is why the incentive program is touted as one of the reasons Canadians are turning their attention back to EVs, but also lack of charging infrastructure in communities across the country is still a concern. There might be a lot of the infrastructure in many major cities, including Toronto, around the country, but maybe not so much in smaller communities. And you likely have heard the term range anxiety. Concerns over range are still a barrier for many to purchase electric vehicles, and also performance in extreme climates. So there are still barriers for many when they're considering whether or not to buy an electric vehicle. But we really have seen a renewed momentum in EV sales, Michelle, for much of this year.
Scott, I bet you there's one or two people out there filling up for more than $1.70 a liter going, maybe I should go EV. Scott Hurst, live in the National Newsroom. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle.
The Bank of Canada held its key interest rate at 2.25% for a 6th straight time. For more on the decision, we're joined live by CTV's Rachel Aiello in Ottawa. Rachel, was this expected?
Yeah, good afternoon, Nathan. Thanks for having me. So certainly economists were anticipating that the central bank would hold its interest rate yet again, and that is what we saw play out this morning. But broadly, I think for consumers, the big takeaway from the monetary policy report that came alongside this rate decision was that after about a year of weakness, the Canadian economy appears to be improving. The big metric that Tiff Macklem, the Bank of Canada governor, pointed out this morning was that for Canada, the economy is looking at rebounding. The growth is picking up again. And growth, of course, is the key metric when we're having the conversation around whether we are in a recession or not. So that pickup is certainly good news for the Canadian economy. And of course, all of this comes with a couple caveats that there is still massive uncertainty in the global economy and how that could have potential knock-on effects on Canadians in the long term. So the bank is watching those factors closely. But for now, it's looking like some good news for Canadian consumers.
Of course, we've got the war with the U.S. and Iran and also U.S. tariffs. Was that the main reason, or are there other factors that impacted the bank's decision?
Yeah, so certainly those two international factors are having the most impact. The uncertainty, the fluctuation in oil prices and then gas prices, as Scott was just talking about. And then, of course, the uncertainty but some stability that the Trump administration declaring they want to do annual reviews of the trilateral trade deal known as CUSMA has kind of steadied that water a little bit. But really what stood out to me was what Macklem was saying in terms of the domestic factors that are kind of informing the bank's decision this time. Here's a bit more from the central banker on those.
Sources of economic growth appear to be broadening. Recent indicators point to continued solid consumer spending. Housing activity, which has been weak, looks to be stabilizing. Export growth has resumed and is expected to continue to strengthen, albeit along a lower path. Business investment is picking up, boosted in the near term by the oil and gas sector. And although the Canada-US-Mexico agreement is now subject to annual reviews, more businesses report they are finding ways to navigate through this uncertainty.
So with all of those taken into consideration, the Bank of Canada is saying that right now inflation in this country is set to gradually ease, hitting that 2% target in early 2027. Nathan?
All right, CTV's Rachel Aiello in Ottawa. Thank you.
In the Middle East, the U.S. carried out a new wave of strikes against Iran today. Coastal defense systems, as well as cruise missile storage and launch sites, were targeted on a key strategic island. The attacks lasted about 90 minutes. The Americans say the strikes were designed to further degrade Iran's capability to attack commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. has now also reimposed a naval blockade of Iranian ports. Tehran is threatening to shut off more regional energy exports. The latest military action followed a threat from the U.S. president last night.
We're going to knock out all their power plants. We're going to knock out all their bridges unless they get to the table and negotiate.
Both sides are vying for control of the Strait of Hormuz. Industry sources say shipping companies are avoiding using a U.S. military-guided transit scheme through the crucial energy corridor after a series of Iranian attacks on vessels. Late yesterday, the United States hit dozens of military targets. In response, Tehran said it struck American military sites in the region, including in Bahrain, Kuwait, and Jordan.
There's been a major policy shift from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, following two separate shooting deaths.
Both incidents happened in less than a week and have reignited outrage against the already controversial agency. CTV's Joy Malbin has those details.
After a wave of fatal shootings by ICE agents, the Trump administration is putting a halt on these dramatic vehicle stops. It's a major policy shift after this recent incident. This footage shows a white car driving in a circle. It's unclear if this was before or after shots were fired at a traffic stop in Biddeford, Maine. ICE agents say they were targeting someone for removal as they pull what appears to be a limp body from the car, handcuffing his hands, the windshield covered with bullet holes.
He put him on the ground, and I heard the young man say, "I tried to stop." Clearly, heard him say that.
Turns out the man fatally shot was not the target. Johann Sebastian Guerrero was a 26-year-old Colombian man authorized to work in the U.S., according to officials.
ICE doesn't want to admit what a botched operation that this was a wrongly targeted person, but somebody who was just going to work, and their death was witnessed by a 3-year-old child.
From protests in Maine.
I don't know what he did, but he didn't deserve to be executed in the street.
To anger in Houston, Texas, where another family is in mourning. Lorenzo Salgado Araujo shot and killed by ICE agents last week. He, too, was the wrong target, and in both cases, ICE agents were not wearing body cameras.
The pause on traffic stop arrests is said to be temporary, but once again, there are calls for ICE to be dismantled. The agency is under fire and under pressure to deliver on President Trump's promise of mass deportations. Joy Malvin, CTV News, Washington.
In World Cup action, Spain booked its spot in the final yesterday and now waits to learn who its opponent will be.
Mikel Oyarzabal strikes first for Spain!
Spain opened the scoring against France yesterday with a penalty kick. The team, who last won the World Cup in 2010, added an insurance goal later in the game to secure the 2-0 victory over their French rivals. Spain will now play the winner of the semifinal between England and Argentina, which is set for 3 p.m. in Atlanta. But first, to Timmy's we go, because it is camp day. Lindsay Morrison, I love a good camp song.
Yeah, we're enjoying a really great camp song right now, Michelle. I do want to talk about the weather today because, of course, the smoke is a big story, the heat as well. Here's your today at a glance. It is a good day to maybe stay indoors where possible, avoid any outdoor strenuous activity if you can. Also, this drifting smoke is going to be with us through today. We hope for some improvement tomorrow, but it is still going to be around until at least Friday. We're going to take a look at your weekend weather forecast live from Tim Hortons. It is camp day. Lots more to come here on CTV News at noon. We'll be right back. Way-oh, way-oh, way-oh. How am I doing? Moose?
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
All right, let's talk about the forecast. It does feel like we're on the red planet today, doesn't it?
Slightly apocalyptic out there.
And it's okay for us being inside, but I do worry about kids in camp.
I definitely worry about the kids in camp today because John was mentioning this earlier. I don't know, you take a deep breath outside and it's uncomfortable. My eyes were watering a little bit. Our Lindsay Morrison has been monitoring it. I don't want this to taint camp day, though.
No, and you know what? Camp happens all summer long. So, yes, this is a bit of a day where we might need to be mindful of the conditions outside and perhaps enjoy some indoor camp activities. But, yes, plenty of summer left to enjoy outdoor camp activities. And today is all about that, making sure that children across the GTA, across Ontario and Canada can enjoy some special Tim's camp. So it is camp day. Everyone say hello. Hi. There they are. We are at Tim Hortons here in Scarborough today. Katie, you are involved with Tim's Camps. For those who aren't familiar, what is Tim's Camp Day all about?
Yeah, so on Tim's Camps Day, what happens is 100% of hot and iced coffee sales get donated to the Tim Hortons Foundation. And what we're able to do with that money is we're able to provide programming and access to different opportunities that young people might not otherwise have access to through our camp locations and through our school programs.
And there are a lot of different camps across our country.
Yeah, so we've got 2 here in Ontario where we serve kids from the GTA, and then we have 4 other camps, so 6 in total right across the country.
Wonderful. Well, we've been highly entertained by the camp staff here that have joined us at Tim's. And Annabella, I want to talk to you because not only are you a camp staff member, but you were a camper yourself. So why is a day like this so special to you?
A day like this is so special to me because since I was a past camper, this camp really brought out like the best in me. So
made my confidence a lot better. It helped me like with my social skills. It helped me with a lot of things, and like you meet a lot of new people as well. So even having like the mentors, like these people around me, is really nice to just be around.
It really is an amazing group that we're hanging out with today, and we're going to enjoy some more camp songs in a little bit. But a reminder, you can get a hot coffee or you can get an iced coffee, and on a day like this, you might opt for the latter. Let's get to your forecast. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm. Injury lawyers, you don't pay unless they win. And as we've been discussing, it is smoky out there today. Do take care for anybody who has to be spending time out and about. Let's take a look at the peak temperatures. Yesterday, downtown Toronto, the big winner, if you want to use that term, 37.6 degrees. At Pearson Airport, we were talking so much about it potentially being a record-breaking day. We actually tied the record set back in the year 1995. So how about that? A scorcher, that is for sure. Today, we are still dealing with the heat. The heat warning remains in effect. Anticipating this will be in place today, possibly tomorrow as well, although improvements are coming. Yesterday certainly was the peak of the heat. It is 30 degrees in Windsor. It feels like 40, but notice how it's not nearly as hot around Toronto, Kingston, Wyerton, North Bay today, and that's thanks in major part to the smoke that has taken over. It's acting like some cloudiness and not allowing that sun to really heat things up all that much anymore. Here's the almanac. The record to beat today is 35.7 degrees. Don't think that's going to happen, but Delhi so far, 32.2 degrees, the hot spot of the province. Today's expected high is about 30 degrees. It'll feel more like 36 at the height of the afternoon, if we can get there, that is. And yes, smoke continues to be widespread across southern Ontario. Here's your evening at a glance. That is a beautiful image, but you can expect that the sky is going to look a lot more cloudy and orange than compared to that. Post-apocalyptic, yeah, that's a term that we've been tossing around today. Sunset time, 8:56 p.m. Overnight tonight, not nearly as hot as it was last night, which is great news. 20 degrees for the low. And then tomorrow, if we can get some of this the smoke rather, to clear, we should be able to enjoy some sun and a daytime high of 31 degrees, feeling more like 34. All right, let's talk about the active weather portion of our story. Air quality warning remains in place and will be. It's an orange level alert for us here in the city of Toronto. There's the satellite and radar. We do have a few showers creeping into areas to the south of Georgian Bay. That could help clear the air if we're able to get a quick passing shower. It's possible today, but not a sure thing. And then through tomorrow, there's a look at the conditions that we're expecting. Mainly clear skies into Friday, but heads up Friday night and into early Saturday, we could be dealing with periods of wet weather. So here is the look at the 7-day forecast. Yeah, Saturday has the potential to be unsettled, but overall the weekend is much cooler. I think we're all ready for a break from the excessive heat. It is Tim Hortons Camp Day. I'm going to let the camp counselors take it away with one more song. Are y'all set? Take it away. T-H-A-K, that's the way we thank you. T-H-A-K, that's the way we thank you. And I thank you. Nathan and Michelle, back to you. Thank you. T-H-A-K, that's the way we thank you.
I'm not sure what they're saying, but it sounds good. All right, thank you, Lindsay. Well, the American League came out on top in last night's MLB All-Star game with Blue Jays pitcher Dylan Cease picking up the win.
Good start, Dylan.
Cease started the game for the AL squad, striking out 3 batters in his only inning of work. The AL All-Stars had scored 3 runs in the top of the inning and were able to hold the National League scoreless, winning the game 4-0. The Jays will be back on the diamond on Friday when they begin a series with the Chicago White Sox.
The Toronto Maple Leafs will kick off the 2026-27 season against a longtime rival. The Buds hosting the Montreal Canadiens Tuesday, September 29th. And there are 2 other Canadian teams in action on opening night, with the Canucks visiting Edmonton. All NHL teams will play 84 games after the league added 2 more for this season. The full schedule is being released tomorrow.
You're watching CTV News at noon. That is a shot of the city, believe it or not. Stay with us.
The city is currently under 2 separate weather warnings, one for air quality, the other for heat.
People are being urged to stay indoors as the conditions can have a major impact on health. We're joined live now by family physician Dr. Ashley Sebastian to discuss the impacts of the poor air quality and heat. Dr. Sebastian, thanks for joining us. The issue outside is compounded. How concerning is this?
You know, it's a bit of a challenge with the air quality and the heats. It poses a serious challenge for some of our patients. Most of our vulnerable population, those who are unhoused, the elderly, the children, can see some adverse effects, including exacerbations in asthma, for example. So we need to pay very close attention to this. And if you do need help, seek help at your local emergency department if you can, or visit your family doctor.
Dr. Sebastian, have you noticed? I mean, yesterday was smoking hot. We're in the middle of this heat wave. Now we've got the smoke. Have you noticed at all more people coming in to your practice? And also, how can people protect themselves?
Of course, I've seen a lot more exacerbations, especially with breathing difficulties. Today, particularly, some cases in my office with the smoke advisories. Protecting yourself is important. So with the heat in particular, staying outside or reducing your time spent outside between 11 and 4 p.m. when the temperature is the greatest. Making sure to wear your sunscreen, your hats, and staying hydrated. Avoiding things like heavy sugary beverages, alcohol will also reduce dehydration, which can exacerbate heat-related injuries and illness.
You listed some great tips. I'm also noticing today some people wearing those I-95 masks while outside. Does that make any difference?
It can. It can reduce and filter some of the particulate matter that might lead to some breathing difficulties. So certainly you can wear masks to help improve your breathing quality.
So if people do have to be outside today, what precautions what should they be doing? What should they be thinking?
I would avoid any strenuous activity outside, particularly today with the air quality. Make sure to stay loosely clothed, so avoiding any heavy clothing, jeans, sweaters, hoodies, things like that to regulate your body temperature, and staying inside as much as possible. Cooling centers, if there's any cooling centers available to you. Public spaces like malls is a great place to shelter from the heat and also from the air quality. But staying inside on a day like today is going to be very important.
Yeah, for sure. We appreciate the insight, Dr. Ashley Sebastian. Thanks for the tips. Have a good one.
Take care.
Still to come, the Canadian Real Estate Association has downgraded its forecast for home sales activity this year. We'll take a look at the numbers when we come back.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Health officials in Ontario are keeping a close eye on the spread of an illness linked to contaminated food that has made hundreds of people sick in the U.S.
CTV's Alexandra Hollick has more on the advice experts are offering to keep people healthy.
Whether it's a leafy green or summer berries, washing your produce seems like standard procedure. But even a thorough rinse can't compete with a microscopic parasite causing major problems. It's called Cyclospora, and it's spreading rapidly across the United States.
It can contaminate water or fresh fruits and vegetables when that human feces becomes in contact with those items, typically through contaminated irrigation water.
The bug is usually found in subtropical regions like South America, Asia, the Caribbean, and Africa. Common culprits include lettuce, cilantro, basil, green onions, raspberries, and snow peas, to name a few.
Particularly those that have non-smooth surfaces, so things with nooks and crannies.
You wouldn't be able to tell if it landed on your plate, and the good news is the infection isn't deadly. But symptoms similar to other foodborne illnesses can show up within a couple of days and last a couple of months.
Mostly people complain about fairly severe, sometimes explosive diarrhea, and that can make people very ill.
Here in Canada, it's not uncommon to see a handful of cyclosporiasis cases every year. While health officials are closely monitoring the situation north and south of the border, they're also urging travelers to stay safe.
If you're going into the U.S. right now, to avoid uncooked fruit and vegetables.
Choose instead fresh fruits that have smooth surfaces, things like grapes, or perhaps rinds that could be peeled.
With the outbreak happening in the U.S. and still no root cause, health officials here say this could be another reason to buy locally grown fruits and vegetables to prevent the chance of picking up that parasite from imported produce. Alexandra Hollick, CTV News, Kitchener.
The Canadian Real Estate Association has downgraded its forecast for home sales activity this year, despite a small uptick in the number of homes that changed hands in June. The CREA is now expecting more than 463,000 residential properties to be sold this year. That represents a 1.4% decline from last year and marks a reversal from the association's April forecast of a 1% gain. The national average home price is forecast to rise 1.1% on an annual basis to $686,700 a year. E-commerce giant Etsy, which features more than 100 million people who buy and sell in its online marketplace, is banning the sale of animal fur products next month.
That sparked outcry from Indigenous artists who say their tradition and livelihood are at risk. CTV's Tyler Fleming has the details.
Come back, I would love to get your photo.
For Shauna Fontaine, traditions can be worn.
For Indigenous artists, this is our way of storytelling.
The Manitoba artisan owns Anishinaabe Girl Designs and is in Ottawa for the Assembly of First Nations, selling her handmade crafts, some that are made with fur.
This is made from skunk. I use ermine, I use weasel, I use mink, I also use some fox. I'm using the very bare minimum of materials in what I'm using to try to be as sustainable and as ethical as possible in my artistry. But I think as Indigenous nations, Indigenous peoples have always done that.
But starting August 11th, the e-commerce platform Etsy, known for selling handcrafted items, will ban the sale of products containing fur from animals, saying the move is part of its sustainability efforts.
That's going to have an impact to Indigenous peoples globally and to a way of life and sustainability and economic sovereignty.
Part of a sustainable harvest is near and dear to our traditions and our values as Indigenous people, something we've practiced since time immemorial.
Now, Chief Jenny Brake of Halibut First Nation wants the Assembly of First Nations to take a stand and is introducing a resolution at the Assembly urging Etsy to reverse the policy.
If Etsy is really true to honoring craft and arts, then they will listen.
The Fur Institute of Canada says platform bans like this add unnecessary barriers which can have deep impacts on rural and remote Indigenous communities.
Fur that's harvested in Canada is harvested humanely.
Fontaine hopes the resolution leads to change, but says she'll keep creating opportunities for other Indigenous artists
to ensure that Indigenous peoples can continue their way of life.
CTV News reached out to Etsy but did not receive a response. Tyler Fleming, CTV News.
Coming up, a final fly past for the Snowbirds. We'll have more on the aerobatics team say goodbye to their home province of Saskatchewan when we return.
The Snowbirds conducted their final fly past in Saskatchewan yesterday before heading further west to be grounded.
CTV's Allison Bamford has more on the historic goodbye.
A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Tyler Spicer.
This might be the last time I'll see it, first and last.
And after watching the Canadian Snowbirds fly over Saskatoon for the first time, the 16-year-old was almost speechless.
I don't have much words to describe how neat it is to be here today.
Hundreds lined the tarmac to catch what could be their final glimpse of the iconic Tudor jets.
Oh man, like that screams Canadian.
The quick flyover captivated crowds before a landing that allowed spectators to see the jets up close.
Thanks for coming to see us, guys.
And meet the pilots in person.
And I actually get to shake their hands this time, which is really cool.
It's gonna suck not having an aerobatic team for the next couple of years.
In May, Ottawa announced the Snowbirds will be temporarily grounded after the 2026 season until the fleet of aging Tudor jets is replaced with a new aircraft.
It was something I saw growing up, and it was really important that we brought our kids out to see it too.
It was just amazing. The experience was great, everything. It's so sad that honestly the government's shutting them down.
A sentiment echoed across the ages. Spectators here signing postcards addressed to the Prime Minister as part of a campaign to keep the Snowbirds flying.
We're just trying to get the Government of Canada and the Minister of National Defence to reconsider their decision.
This was just a fuel stop for the Snowbirds on their way to Alberta for more scheduled events. No more events are slated for their home province here in Saskatchewan.
Just sad to see it go.
And for many, this is the final wave goodbye to a national symbol. Allison Bamford, CTV News, Saskatoon.
And before we wave goodbye, we got to check in with Lindsay Morrison at Tim Hortons for Camp Day. Linz.
And I'm having so much fun here, Michelle and Nathan, but I have also been keeping a very close eye on the air quality outside. One more look at the warning that's in effect for the city of Toronto and such a widespread area of southern Ontario, northern parts of the province too. And again, it is an orange level alert, so do take care today. Stay indoors and out of the smoke if you can. Overnight tonight, we look to drop to a low of 20 degrees. Last night, it got as low as 26. That was very uncomfortable for sleeping for so many. This should be an improvement. Tomorrow's expected daytime high, 31, so we're not out of the heat wave quite yet, but improvements are coming. And if we can get out of some of this smoke, we will enjoy some sun tomorrow too. There's your 7-day forecast, including the weekend. Chance of showers Friday night and Saturday. Overall, though, much cooler and more comfortable conditions into next week. Again, it's been a blast here live from Tim Hortons. It is Camp Day. I know that these counselors feel a lot of gratitude to anyone who's going to be purchasing a coffee today and helping kids go to camp. So they want to take it away one more time. Let's hear it. One more camp song. Nathan and Michelle after that. Back to you.
I want to be my thankful deep down in my heart. I want to be my thankful deep down in my heart. I said deep, deep, I said down, down, I said deep down in my heart. Woo! I said deep, deep, I said down, down, I said deep down in my heart. Woo!
A reminder how much fun camp can be.
I don't know that one. I love that song.
Sounds
Thanks,
good.
everybody.
All right, that is it for CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison, all the campers there, and all of us here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6.